Test 1, 2, 3. EDLS 706 Reform and Change candidates. Hi, it's Dr. Palermo with your week 3 video. I just left you in Goldsboro, and it was a pleasure seeing all of you again and meeting you, Denny. So back on the trail here. Chapter 2 in Kayak and Cuban is about policy cycles and institutional trends. So what do I want to tell you about that stuff? Three big ideas here. That there's policy talk, and again, if you just kind of listen to the news and to the TV news cycle, what's the buzz? What's the talk? What's Miss DeVos talking about in terms of educational policy this week? Charters. Policy action. So there's a lot of talk out there in society and from leaders about policy and what should be in education prior to there being policy action. But talk, action, and then policy implementation. So three stages there. And in the immortal words of Yogi Berra, sometimes the process is deja vu all over again. So on page 43, also policy in the United States, at least, is caught up in contradictions. For instance, a trend, if you think about institutional trends, to pass on the best academic knowledge that the past has to offer, but also to teach marketable and practical skills. So what's the trend these days? We're hearing all about what is the value of an education? What is that BA/BS degree worth? What kind of job can I get? And if we wanted to comment on a particular trend, lately it's a lot more toward vocational application of a degree and less of the liberal arts education. So chapter 2 is lays out the idea that policy talk is different than action and different from implementation, and uses the example of the evolution of the American high school as an example. So that's interesting, and read through that. The statistics are that in 1900, 1 in 10 U.S. Teenager went to high school, and by 1980 was 9 out of 10 attending high school. So there has been change. Policy has been put into action. Policy has been implemented. How does that relate to the policy talk? So kind of interesting there. I won't tell you everything that's happening in chapter 2. I'll let you discover some of that for yourself, but very definitely read the conclusion on pages 58 and 59, and maybe read that reflection twice. Feelings of deja vu should not be discounted because things are cyclical, and the trends do go in cycles. Significant segments of the democratic polity have not yet been heard in the process, and sometimes even teachers were barely consulted about changes that they were expected to bring about. There's a lot of wisdom in this book that has opened my eyes to the way policy has been implemented. And that's one big fact that I think we often overlook. Teachers often haven't asked for the changes that they've had to implement. So there's something for you. Be sure, please, to keep up with your discussion board posts. That's your opportunity for professional dialogue. Have you started on your SRP? Are you thinking about it? Have you identified a project or a need to investigate? And don't forget, that should be a system reform, not a tiny little tinkering, but something large or comprehensive in terms of a program or a system. Have you started research on your policy paper and presentation? Since we're going to be meeting again in just a few weeks, that's probably the one you want to get started on. And don't forget the Dover Library resources that we looked at. To do your research at midnight in the library if you have to. That's not a bad thing to do. So comment on something from chapter 2 that resonates with you, and continue that professional dialogue. I didn't say enough about this, perhaps. When we are responding to one another in the dialogue post, I do expect you to go into Blackboard every week to look at the assignments, to hear these brief videos, and to keep up with this professional dialogue in the Blackboard post. To do that, please post your if it requires a response, it doesn't always, but if it does, please post your reply or your comment by Sunday night and give others a couple of days to respond. But timely responses are the way I'm grading those. So thank you, and keep up the good work. Great to see you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.